Hey everyone, welcome back to 25 Sweet Peas. Today I'm so excited to be sharing the first information about my 12 days of Christmas with you. So, if you're new around here, earlier this year I actually did this really fun summary download where there were illustrations for you guys to color each day as kind of a way to add some creativity to your day, but also just give you something like little to accomplish each day as well. So, for Christmas, I have released a 12 days of Christmas kind of coloring sheet where there's 12 different illustrations that you can color throughout the month of December. There are 12, so you could either do it 12 days in a row, you could do it every other day. Really, it is up to you, and you can use whatever medium you would like. And it is going to be available for free to everybody that signs up to my newsletter, which I will have linked down below. And also above is, of course, the sneak peek at the coloring sheet that you guys will be able to print out. And I'm just super excited about all of that. So, in addition to that, along with it, I should say, I am releasing 12 little tutorials as well. So whenever you download the printable, there's also going to be 12 pages of like how to drawing instructions where you'll actually be able to see how you can learn to draw the illustrations that you're going to be coloring daily. That way, if you want to learn how to draw these pieces and actually like put it in a bullet journal or then like expand upon it and illustrate it yourself, you will actually be able to do that, and there will be step-by-step directions, which I'm super excited about. So if you are interested in that, be sure to check out the link in the description box down below that says like sign up for my newsletter, and as soon as you do that, you will get all of that instantly to your email, which is super exciting. Then you can print it out and join along. Now, in addition to all of this, I am also launching a kind of a drawing series on YouTube as well. So I'm going to be showing you guys how you can create some basic illustrations in the app Procreate. So if you do have an iPad, an Apple Pencil, and want to download the app Procreate, I'm going to be showing you many different things to do within it. We're going to be drawing the festive Christmassy things that you guys have been doing in the 12 days of Christmas, plus some fun extras for the holiday season, which I'm super excited about and also a little bit nervous because it's very new and exciting. So today, in lieu of all of that, I'm going to give you some of the basic tools that we're going to be using in Procreate and kind of give you an overview so that way you can reference this video for that overview anytime that you are watching the series. And that way we also have like little bite-sized videos or videos where we don't have to re-explain the same thing every time. So I'm super excited about all of this. So let's get into going over the basic tools that are in Procreate that we will be using this series, or this holiday season, I should say. First up, I'm going to be showing you how to add a canvas to Procreate because we're going to be doing all of our work on a 3000 by 3000 canvas, which I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so once you've got Procreate open, there is a little plus in the top right corner. You want to tap that, and then you're going to create a new canvas. And you want your dimensions to be 3000 by 3000, which we're making a square. And then you want your DPI to be set at least 300, which gives you a really good print quality if you decided you wanted to print this out. And then you want to press the Create button. And now you have a square canvas, and we're ready to go. In this series, we aren't always going to use a standard white color for the background of our canvas. So right now we are going to go actually see how we can change the base color of our canvas. So right now we have a white background on our canvas, but we actually want to change that color. So you're going to go to your layer panel, press the background color, and then it's going to come up with all these options where you can pick any background color from your palette library, or you can mix one on the thing. And that way we can kind of just do whatever color we want on top. So this makes it easier if you want to use, say, a white color on top of maybe a tan color. But if we were doing something like white on white, obviously you wouldn't see that. So that is going to make some of our illustrations a lot easier. And that is what I'm kind of demonstrating now. Right now I've got a tannish base, which allows us to see the white color, which will come in handy in drawing some Christmassy scenes. Next up, I'm going to be showing you how to turn on a grid guide, which is actually my favorite tip or a trick, I would say, to center things on your canvas. And then we're also going to take a look at the overview of the action menus just so you can kind of see what's there. Of course, we're not going to dive into every little detail in Procreate because there is so much to learn, but we're just going over some rather important tools to get you going. Okay, so first up, we're going to check out this little wrench tool up here. As you guys can see, it is already on canvas, but first we're going to check out the add section, which is basically where you can add text, add a photo. Then we have the canvas, which is where you can use animation assist and creating a guides. And then you have the share section, which is like how you export a piece of art, whether it's a JPEG, a PNG. But the main one of focus right now is the canvas and the grid guide. So at this point, whenever you turn on the grid guide, it automatically puts a grid on your canvas, and then you can kind of go play with the settings. You can turn the grid all the way up, which is actually what I like to do. So I have this big plus sign in the middle of my canvas. That way I can use that as a center point. And you can also pick your contrast and color up top so you can make it contrast against your work. And I also want to clarify that when you do this, that does not go on your art permanently. That is just there as a guide for you. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the brush library, the smudgers, and the erasers, and we'll kind of go over how I'm going to be utilizing them in this video and give you a quick basic overview. So in the right corner, you have this little brush icon, and that takes you directly to your brush library. So that's where all of your default brushes are and any brushes that you may have purchased have been. Then if you press the next tool over, that's actually the smudging tool, and you have all of the exact same brushes to utilize as a smudger, which is super nice. And then the same thing goes for the eraser. So if you tap that, you can get to all of them. Next up, we're going to talk about layers and the layer panel in general. This little square on square icon in the top corner is your layer panel. And as you guys can see when you open it, you see layer 1, your background color, and then there's a little plus sign which you can actually do to add a new layer. And see, if I draw on this layer 2, I can uncheck it and that disappears, which is really, really helpful in digital art because you can do like non-destructive things to your work. If you press the little N, you can actually get to the opacity manager and change the opacity of the work. So maybe you decided your coloring was too dark and you wanted to turn it down. You could do that in one little step. Next up, we're going to be checking out the multiply blend mode. Now, this is something that I have not always used in my Procreate experience, but I have recently added it to my kind of workflow and I really, really do enjoy it. So I want to give you a little peek, but if you don't feel comfortable using it yet, no worries, and I'll explain that in the whole video series. So to kind of show you how this whole multiply blend mode things works, I'm going to draw a circle and I'm going to fill it with color. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer on top of it by using the plus button in the layers menu, as you guys can see here. And I'm going to keep my color exactly the same, but I'm going to draw on top of that circle, and you guys can see that obviously you can't see anything. However, if I press the little N on the layer, I can actually pull this little menu here all the way up to the one that says multiply, and suddenly you can see it. And as you like kind of peruse these, you can kind of see, you can actually see the color on top of the circle, even though you were using the exact same color. And I found using the multiply blend mode is really, really nice to kind of add your own shadowing to a piece without changing your color. So you can change the opacity of it, as you guys can see with this little slider here. And it just really allows for some nice creativeness that also allows you to kind of automatically shade things without having to create a new color. Next up, I'm going to be showing you the main brushes that I will be using in the series and some alternatives that are already built into Procreate that will get you something very, very similar if you have not purchased the brushes that I'm using and you don't want to. Okay, so let's talk brushes. I have already made this little sheet here that has kind of gone over all the things that we've already talked about today, but I've also made this little guide of the brushes I'm going to be using. So the brushes that are on the top line here are the ones that I'm going to be using that are purchased, that I have purchased, I should say. I'm going to be using the 6B pencil from the Drawing Box brush set by Sadie Lou that I purchased on Design Cuts. There's a ton of great brushes in that pack. If you are interested, I will link it down below. Then the next one I'm going to be using is ink from the Storybook Studio brush set by Eliza Moreno illustration that I also purchased on Design Cuts, which I will have linked below as well, because I absolutely love that brush set. There's so many neat brushes and wonderful textures in there. Now, like I said, I will have that link down below. But if you don't have those brushes and you're not interested in purchasing them quite yet, I do have some alternatives that I have found that are already default, and I believe all Procreates versions. Obviously, I don't know. I am on the most updated ones, but I've had these since my older iPads as well. So these first two brushes that I showed you up top are the design cut ones, and the ones we're going to go over next are already built into, I believe, all Procreates. So this first one is the 6B pencil, which is called the sketching pencil. You guys can find that in the sketching set. And it is similar to the 6B pencil that I'm using, but it doesn't have as maybe much control or the same texture, but it's pretty close. Then the dry ink brush is in the inking set that is already like built into your Procreate. And that one is actually very, very close to the ink brush that I am using. I would say this one in general has a bigger body to it and not as pressure sensitive, but still a great alternative. As you guys can see there, they do look very similar. Next up, I want to show you quickly how I prep a sketch, because it is a little different, or should I say it differs from how I would traditionally sketch on paper, but that's because we have some really cool tools to utilize when working digitally. Okay, so to do this, we're just gonna, draw something really quick here. It's probably not gonna look good, but it's gonna get the point across. So let's say you're sketching on a layer and you're indecisive like me and you back it up, and then you are just working on your sketch. I'm gonna draw a sun real quick. And this is what we would traditionally do on paper with pencil. And right now, you would totally be thinking, like, you're doing this way too dark. You're not going to be able to erase that. But see, we can actually go to the layer panel here and we can turn down the opacity and make it much lighter. And then I can add a new layer and draw on top of it. And when I want to be done with it, I can delete it. But the thing is, if I put a new layer on top and I start coloring on top of my sketch, I suddenly can't see the sketch anymore and I can't use it as a guideline. So what I actually like to do is I like to move the sketch layer. Also, real quick before we do that, I'm going to name this. This one is called sketch, and then the yellow one would be my colored one. But what I want to do is put my sketch layer on top of the actual coloring layer. So that way I can still color, but I can still see the sketch. And oops, I'm drawing on the wrong layer. See, back on this layer, I can draw underneath the sketch. I can still see it, but then I can go turn it off if I don't want to see the sketch anymore, which is wonderful, and it makes it so much easier to kind of move things around. Now, another great tip, depending on your colors you're using, you can also turn on that multiply blend mode that we were talking about earlier on your sketch layer. That way, if you're using the same color as your sketch, you can still also see the sketch, which is super helpful. So you can see there, that blue, I can still see what my sketch was versus what I was coloring, even though I was using the same exact color. So there's a lot of advantages to setting up a sketch like that. And if that was like way too much information, way too much fast, don't worry, I'll be showing you that in each video as well. Now we're going to be checking out what in the world Alpha Lock is and a quick overview of a simple clipping mask. Okay, so once again, we've got a random circle on a layer, and we want to add something on top of the circle. So we're going to put a stripe on the same layer of the circle, but I really don't want it to go beyond the circle. So what I can do here is actually turn on Alpha Lock on the layer that I want to draw on and stay within. And now I can draw that straight line across the circle and it stays only in the circle, which is the benefit of using Alpha Lock. Now, in this exact situation, because I have Alpha Lock on and I'm working on the same layer as the circle, if I did want to go and erase it, unfortunately, I'm erasing everything. Now, a way to get around this is to actually add a new layer on top of the layer that you want to work on, and switch back to my brush. Okay, I'm on the right layer, and I'm going to put that line across, but now it's not confined to the circle. However, there's a mode for that. So I can tap on that layer and I can turn on a clipping mask, and it's going to clip to whatever the layer is below it. So right now, those pink lines are staying within that circle, and I can go ahead, add whatever details I want. Again, we're just very sloppily doodling here. But the main difference here is I can actually go erase just that layer, which is super cool. But now I've got the clipping mask on again. see, I can turn it on, I can turn it off using that little checkbox, and I can erase it without hurting the blue circle underneath, which is the main benefit in using a clipping mask. So there's a quick overview. Of course, we're going to be going over that in the video. We're going to be utilizing some of these basic tools, but I think that gives you a quick, nice overview of everything. Now you kind of know the basics that we're going to be utilizing over and over in the upcoming series. Plus, this video will always be live for you to reference back to, so you can always pause another video and come back here and quickly kind of like research something. Also, I do realize and understand that this video was not very deep or very detailed. There's a lot more to Procreate. So if you're super new to Procreate, I'm actually going to put a link to a video that I loved whenever I was learning Procreate for the first time. It will be down in the description box. It's a great video of like an intro to Procreate by Lisa Bardot. She makes wonderful educational videos for Procreate. So I would highly suggest checking that out if you want a more in-depth intro. So that kind of wraps up this video. Again, if you guys want to sign up for my newsletter, that will be listed down in the description box below. Soon as you sign up via that link, you will get everything instantly to your email. Plus, I'll be sending out more fun freebies throughout the month of December. And as I mentioned, there's going to be a YouTube series, and here's a sneak peek at one of the upcoming videos. And I'm just super excited about all of this. I'm excited to be sharing this very different topic with you. Everything else that you guys have been seeing on my channel will still remain the same. This is just in addition to it, and I'm just excited to be doing something a little different this holiday season with you. And I think that covers everything. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, anything you want to know, let me know down below in the comments, and I will get back to you. And again, be sure to sign up for my emails via the link in the descriptions, because that is how you will instantly get the download. And remember, if Procreate isn't your thing or you don't have an iPad, no worries. That downloadable is still going to be available for you. You guys can print it out and you can color it at home, because that part is actually just meant to be like on paper. You guys can do it each morning, maybe with your cup of coffee or hot chocolate, have something a little festive to look forward to each day, or for 12 days every other day. Whatever you want. Plus, you can also learn how to draw those illustrations, perfect for a bullet journal, or you can also come here and learn how to draw it digitally. So again, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to y'all very soon. Bye!